Jared, what's up, dude?
Hello, how are you guys?
Hey,
Good.
man. What you got going on today, brother? What's up?
Oh, God, house is getting built, meeting with builders and checking on my orchard.
Dude, you for those that don't know, not to make anyone feel old, but Macaulay Culkin and you have both recently turned 40. So what does 40 look
Sucks.
what does 40 look like for you today, man? You've got kids, you're like a dad, a family man. Who would have ever freaking thought it?
Yeah, 40, I mean, heck, it's the new 20, right? I don't know. It just, yeah, like you said, raise kids, daily chores, nothing glamorous. It's a very, very non-glamorous life. You know what I mean? The garden a lot, all that kind of fun stuff.
Well, you worked hard to get to that point. You worked hard for a simple life. This is good. These are the good years.
Oh, absolutely. I still try to make time for golf, and kids are starting sports these days. So that keeps you busy. Still trying to rope a little bit. Curling keeps me busy. So, gardening, orchards, all the fun stuff. Hopefully one day to be like fully self-sustained. If I didn't have to go to the grocery store for like a month, that'd be dope.
Dude, absolutely. Yeah, no kidding. We were just talking about that. So your former coach, the guy that drafted you, Jared, Dick Vermeil, Hall of Fame this weekend. I know, we'll get into you not being in Canton. You're in an orchard instead of Canton, Ohio, which is another story, and we'll talk about that. But your former coach, Dick Vermeil, getting in. We just talked to Trent Green yesterday. He's going to be there. A lot of, Dick's former players are going to be on hand. It's a big deal. Just your thoughts on Coach Vermeil getting in.
Yeah, I was hoping to be able to make it. Fortunately, the Hall of Fame and my daughter's birthday always coincide. So until I actually get in myself, I have to choose my daughter's birthday over all that. So it was, it's such a great honor. Coach Vermeil was such an obviously impactful coach, but more than that, just an impactful person in my life. And so hit you with the low battery, sorry. And so much of a more just impactful person in my life that, he deserves the honor. I think, he kind of was one of those he kind of changed the way, the game, not so much the game was played, but the way the game was approached. Obviously, he was very hard-nosed, still old school fashion, but, being able to air it out in an era of Marty Ball still, right? You got to remember, Schottenheimer just left the Chiefs, and we come in, and here comes, the greatest show on turf, coming in, and, we're in Kansas City, and we have the #1 offense and that kind of stuff. So I think in an era that, he was just kind of ahead of his time, in an era that was still so run heavy, so power football heavy, he found a way to create offenses and a team that could take the top off you and still have that toughness and tenacity. Obviously hats off to him. Wish I was there. He's such a great human being. I think I try to tell people all the time, the best way to describe Coach Vermeil knew how to push you to your absolute limit. And right when you wanted to just absolutely murder him, he'd give you a hug, or the patented Vermeil grope these days, basically assault on your backside, and tell you he loved you. And you just were like, all right, I'm going to go run through a wall for this guy again. So I think he doesn't get enough credit for how he was able to motivate his teams.
Over under on how many times his speech has to be stopped for tears.
57.
Yeah.
57.
I'll take the over
right there. Yeah. And but let me kill you this. At some point he runs out of tears, right? So you have to calculate that. He would well up in meetings sometimes, and you're like, man, that's not really a tear. That's more of a well. What he wanted to cry, but it just wasn't there. There wasn't enough of it left.
Well, we call it a nice
so
produce aisle mist.
Yes. So I think in the beginning the tears will flow, and then he'll have to pause and catch himself. But again, I just think that's how authentic he is. And that's who he is. He doesn't try to hide it, and I can appreciate that, especially again in a time where it's all about toughness. He really wore his heart on the sleeve and created an emotional side of football that made you want to play for him because you respected and loved him as a human being.
Well, Jared, Carl Peterson is going to be presenting Dick Vermeil for induction into the Hall of Fame. When you make it to the Hall, is Carl also going to be presenting you for induction?
Oh, absolutely. Right there. And as long as he gives me a big check he didn't give me back in the day. one of those big charity checks, you know what I mean? With interest. No, I actually, I mean, I guess I got to thank Carl, right? If he would have signed me to the deal that we originally presented for him, I would have been in Kansas City on the cheap. And lucky for me, they said no, and Dwight Freeney broke the bank, and all was good.
Well, it is good. You go to Minnesota.
You're Mr. Peterson.
You're going into the Ring of Honor in Minnesota. This is just, forget the Hall of Fame, forget Canton, Ohio. Ring of Honor. You're the 2022 inductee for the Minnesota Vikings. Just what was kind of your thoughts, your emotions? You hear this, and I guess it's going to be this October. You'll be going back to God's country, to Minneapolis, to this brand new spaceship of a stadium, and it'll be you, Jared. It's all the limelight on you, man. This is gonna be great, man.
No, it was such a surprise. I came out there for a Salvation Army event, and then to speak to the team and meet the new staff. And they surprised me with the induction, and so it's surreal. I was joking with them. I said, "Well, now maybe that that Canton sees that my own team believes in me. Maybe they'll put me in Canton one of these days too." But no, it really, I'm humbled. Again, even just being in a Hall of Fame finalist, and being able to share that with Coach Vermeil this last year, seeing how he drafted me, but being in the Ring of Honor and being inducted and he get these accolades thrown my way, it's so humbling because there's so many great players, and again, I don't envy anybody's job that has to make these decisions because so many great Vikings, there's so many great players in the NFL that are all deserving. So for my name to be mentioned among them, and now to be able to join the elite in that franchise, is really, really special. My heart was always coming out of Kansas City, and just my life changed there, and so that organization was always near and dear to my heart. And so to be a part of it permanently now, especially right next to Kevin Williams, hopefully they just put us right next to each other.
There you go.
Yeah, and then I got to spend time with Carl Eller and Alan Page, that following day after they told me. So it just kind of is nostalgic, you know what I mean? There's so many, especially for D linemen, there's so many greats that came out of Minnesota. So for me to be able to be in that category,
Yeah, you talked about your teammate Kevin Williams winning last year to the Vikings Ring of Honor. He said he'll be there, kind of yours with bells on, but he said he's got that over you, that he made it in the year before you. So,
and I wasn't able to show up to his. I had a previous commitment that I couldn't wiggle out of, and I was like, oh, so yeah, he's got that over me. He got in before, which he should. He was drafted before me. He spent more time in Minnesota. We won't talk about if he ever beat me in tackles while we were there, but just saying. But no, that guy, I love that guy to death. He's a phenomenal human being, and one of my favorite people, one of my favorite teammates. And so to be able to get in after him and have him be there to share that with me is special.
Have you become that guy, Jared? I'm starting to pick up on this. You're that guy with kids, you're 40, you're that friend that never makes it to anything. And you always have like something to point to, like, well, 100%. My daughter's got an event this weekend. Are you that guy?
I was that guy back before I even had kids, right? Like, ooh, that's a tough one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it there. I have to change planes. That's probably not happening.
So,
so no, kids are the built-in excuse. Kids and COVID were like the greatest excuse not to do a thing. Right? Trying to hold on to that as long as I possibly can. So as long, and then, there's even times where it's like, hey, we'd really like you to come to this foundation event. And I'm like, I think we can Zoom that. That seems like a good Zoomable occasion.
Absolutely. Well, you had 22 sacks in 2011. What a year that was. You've just had a tremendous career, but a lot of people say that they've never heard the Metrodome louder than your fight with Donald Penn in 2012. That was the moment maybe that solidified you as this Vikings Ring of Honor member. That was the roof just blew.
Just two guys getting after it. That's what football's about, right? I think that's what when we're talking to the team and stuff like that. I think you gotta have guys that just love the physicality of the game, and I think sometimes that gets kind of missed. But that's what football's about, man. That's what made it fun. Bring back the old days. You gotta have what was it? Matthew McConaughey said you gotta have rivals. You got to have someone you're chasing to bring out the best in you. And maybe that wasn't even Matthew McConaughey. I thought he said that in like some speech after winning an Oscar or something.
That sounds great, though. Yeah, I love that.
We'll just give him credit
Whatever it
for
was,
it.
it's
Who
great.
knows? No, so yeah, it just that was an amazing game. I don't even remember if we won or lost. It was a fun play. I
You
mean,
lost.
anytime you can get blood, yeah, I think we did. Yeah, anytime you can get bloody on the football field, hey, it is what it is.
And in your case for the Hall of Fame, I mean, during your tenure with the Vikings, nobody had more sacks. You had 85 and a half. Clint mentioned the 22 sacks in 2011, 4.5 sacks versus Aaron Rodgers in 2008. I mean, you're 12th all time above guys like Derek Thomas and Lawrence Taylor for sacks with 136.
And
Most
Richard
safeties
Seymour,
in
who
a
just got
season
in.
and a career.
And more than Richard Seymour that just got in this weekend.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you know, I don't know the politics of it. I don't know really the criteria, to be honest.
Super Bowls.
So I would honestly say, you know, heck, maybe I should have played one more year, 2 more years, gotten 10 more sacks, got above 150 and been good. But, you know, I blew my L5 out twice. I wanted to be able to do what I do now, right? I want to be able to live a good quality life with my kids and family and stuff like that. At some point you're chasing numbers, whether you're chasing money or you're chasing sack totals. I mean, the reality is none of us are getting to 200. I don't see anybody getting to 200 anytime soon. At least I wasn't. So it was kind of like, you know, get out with my health. For me personally, and I was kind of instilled this by Gunther Cunningham, you know, my standard was Derek Thomas when I came into the league. And so one of my greatest moments was to get past Derek Thomas and do it faster than, you know, to his number, you know, faster than he did. And, you know, he's literally an all-time great. I mean, he's not always in that same category as top edge rusher ever. I don't know. I think they kind of, you know, Lawrence Taylor and him, in my personal opinion, are exchangeable. Lawrence Taylor, obviously an absolute dog, but I mean, you go back and watch. I watched a ton of film on Derek Thomas. I don't know that there's anybody that plays the game today that has a first step like that guy did. And so, yeah, you know, again, I don't know the criteria for me and my average. So Gunther told me, he's like, you got to average 12 a year to be worth your salt. I think I finished my career, you know, at like 11.8 or something like that, average, you know, where. So for me, that was very important to me to try to keep my average right around 12 per year. Like I said, maybe I should have played a couple extra. Who knows? I don't know what the criteria is. I don't really care. Like I said, I've been able to be a 3-time or 2-time finalist, hopefully a 3rd-time finalist coming up. And when it happens, it happens. You know, I'd be lying to say if I wasn't a little disappointed this last year, because, you know, your first year, you don't really have any expectations. You're like, oh, this is dope. You know, and you hear the names that you're with. Then the second year, you make it back. You're like, this could be my year. And then they're like, no, it's not. It's like the 5th grader that doesn't get picked for the basketball team. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, crap.
well, they're clearly just waiting.
Try it again next year. Try it again next year.
They're clearly just waiting for your kids to be old enough to be out of the house so that that you don't have to miss anything. So you can go in.
You know what? When it does happen, we'll be hopefully I'm not rocking a skullet by then. Hopefully I still got a full head of hair.
Dude, I'm getting there, brother. Oh my God.
We could just bring the mullet train out to Canton and have a good old time.
Dude, absolutely. Well, Jared, we had you on last year, actually, Dick Vermeil on the same show separately. We did a Chiefs Bills playoff game preview. Both you and Coach Vermeil separately said you can almost not pick a winner. It's too close to call. Well, it winds up becoming one of the greatest playoff games of all time. You grew up a Bills fan. You play and are drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. You can't deny that was just one of the greatest football games ever played. And now heading into this year, man, oh my God, it's all up in the air. Chiefs are going through changes. The AFC is loaded for bear. Man, this is going to be one of the most exciting football seasons we've ever seen. It all kind of comes off the heels of that unbelievable jaw-dropping divisional playoff game in Kansas City.
Yeah, and I'm excited. Oh, sorry, I think I just cut you there. No, I think you're right, and I think, you know, you're kind of starting to see. And I don't want to say a balance of power, right? But you, especially in the AFC, you got a handful of elite core. It was actually a funny thing. I was actually talking with a friend of mine the other day, and he was like, "Out of all the people in the world, in the country, how is it there's like maybe 10 like elite level quarterbacks? How is there not 32 of these guys that can just sling it and be crazy elite?" So I think it just shows how tough that position might be. But I think in the AFC you have a more even playing field, much some of these young quarterbacks, right? And now you get Tyreek Hill going to Miami, so you know that you got to see what that does to Kansas City. So to me that game was the way it ended just saddened me. And I knew they were going to lose as soon as I saw the two corners. So there's two types of prevent defense you can play, right? Prevent, where you're obviously preventing the deep ball over the edge. and then you protect the sidelines and you tackle them in bounds. You're trying to run the clock out. So I don't know why. I love Coach Frazier. I love Coach McDermott. I have no clue why the corners were protecting the sideline when they had a timeout and you give up a 30-yard seam up the middle when you got a guy banging 60-yard field goals. So I think that I was disappointed in how the game ended because I didn't feel like the Chiefs actually beat them. You know what I mean? The Bills, in my opinion, out-schemed themselves because that seam route was exactly what you give up in that scenario, hoping you tackle them and let the time run out. You know, if you got like 5 seconds left. So, yeah, it's gonna be a heck of a season. You think you got health, right? It's all going to come down to injuries. Whatever those probably top 5 teams in the AFC stay healthy. I think that's who you see representing that conference in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely. And Eric Bieniemy, offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, going into his 5th season. He was there with you in Minnesota, running backs coach in 08-09. In 2010, he's the assistant head coach as well. I don't know if you had any dealings with him or what you can tell us about the head coach or the coach, Eric Bieniemy.
Bieniemy's awesome. He's a dog, though. You know what I mean? I think that's part of the reason why he doesn't have a head coaching job yet is because he's hardcore. And not all. I mean, I love it, right? I mean, a guy that's going to hold Adrian accountable. I mean, Adrian, in my opinion, that dude was breaking every record at the time, and EB was not afraid to crawl up, all up and down his backside just because he expected excellence, and I respect that and I appreciate that. And EB, but he was a player's coach at the same time, and he as hard as he would get on you, he'd praise you the same way. So, I think it's a matter of time before he gets a job. I think his intensity might scare some of these younger kids. I haven't talked to him for some years, so I don't know if he's still that same intense level. I can only imagine he is. But he's a heck of a coach, obviously. And to be honest, I think he probably gets knocked because everybody knows Andy Reid, still is the offer. Andy Reid has the offensive guru mindset, and so maybe he doesn't get his credit for calling as many plays as he actually does. I don't know what that dynamic is, so I'm just speculating. But Eric Bieniemy is awesome, and like I said, if you want a guy that's going to give it to you straight, who's going to demand excellence, who's going to have fun doing it with you, but is going to hold you accountable, that's a guy you want leading your organization from a coaching standpoint. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of time before he gets it, and and I think you just there we go. Sorry. And you just wait and see what shakes out this year. But I think it's unfortunate he got overlooked, but he's in a great situation. To be honest, if I'm him, do I want to go to a team that has nobody, no quarterback, nothing like that? Or do I want to stay and coach Mahomes? I think I'll just stay and coach Mahomes.
Yeah, good business decision there. They keep renewed his deal this offseason, so we'll see where things go. Obviously want him to get that chance someday. So you mentioned Adrian Peterson. And we were, Noah and I were just in Nashville for Ric Flair's last match, 73 years old. He wrestled one more time, and only to learn that Adrian Peterson and Le'Veon Bell's fight got postponed. We were ready for that to happen. Adrian Peterson, he always has this cool, calm demeanor. Le'Veon Bell, the exact opposite of that. To me, this was an easy pick. It was going to be Adrian Peterson all day, and I think we missed out on that opportunity. Hopefully, in the future, right?
I don't know. I've seen video of Le'Veon Bell hitting mitts and hitting pads, and he seems 100% all in on boxing.
Interesting.
His interview, I've never seen pads. I've never seen him throw a punch, so I don't know what that looks like. Obviously, tremendous athlete, but AP was still holding out, saying he wanted to play in the NFL. So to be honest, if I was a betting dude, based on those words, I'd put my money on Bell, just because of the fact that he seems 100% committed at the NFL. He's all in on boxing. So where that training, there might be a gap in training and what they're taking serious and stuff like that. So, it would have been a fun fight to see. That's for sure. I think that's the whole thing now. Slub boxing.
Well, being here in Kansas City, Jared, we all saw how close your relationship was with Boomer Grigsby. How's your relationship today? He's got 2 sons. Greer just had one. Bear Grigsby. Of course, Boomer would call his son Bear.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with Boomer?
You know what? Honestly, he's out in Vegas doing his thing. We don't talk that much. Like, we're on different sides of the country. I keep up with them through. I think my wife follows him on Instagram or sees him on Instagram, and then we have a bunch of mutual friends that are still in contact. So, haven't spoken to him, but it's just like anything. I could probably text him right now and You'd catch up in 2 minutes. Life kind of takes us 2 ways, but he's got some cute little kids running around there. And yeah, I mean, you got to, if you're gonna have sons, you got to give them power names.
Especially him. My God. Well, Jared, can't thank you enough, my friend, for jumping on. We'll let you get back to it there. Obviously a busy day ahead of you there in the old orchard. Can't thank you enough. Best of luck. Congratulations on the Ring of Honor with the Minnesota Vikings. And we're going to get you to Canton one way or hell or high water. We're going to get you there and we will see you there when it happens, my friend.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You
Always
too.
an honor.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.